Fourth theory is the social penetration theory. And the examples diagrams on page 243, I think, are the most helpful into looking at that. We're looking at two different things, and that is, what do you talk about in terms of breadth? And that means the range of topics you talk about. Do you talk about politics, religion, work, family, friends, your hopes, your dreams, movies, books, music? Is that all of the topics you talk about? Well, that's a lot of stuff. Depth is how much of that topic do you talk about with that other person? So that means how much detail do you get into on those topics that reveal their inner personality? How much, when you're talking about those range of topics, how much depth do you get into on that particular topic? And then we know deep penetration is the opposite, in that the range of topics decrease and also the depth. So they don't share their inner thoughts and feelings on movies, books, and religion. They start to share less and less and less, so that deep penetration. But as our relationships develop, we begin to talk about more topics, and as our relationships develop, we talk more detail, and we reveal more about our inner personality or our core values and beliefs. The next is social exchange. Now, I know these are very similar. You have social penetration, which means how much do you talk about and to what detail do you talk about. And then social exchange theory is different, because what you do is you look at the rewards and you look at the costs of your relationship. And there's actually a journal entry that you will use to do this particular thing. And I think it's this week. I don't know if it might be next week, but I think it's this week. And that's where a reward is something that it costs you to obtain. So you either have money as your reward, you have status that you're in a relationship, you get more love, you get information, you get goods, you get services, okay? So that means that as you're doing that, there's also costs, which things you would normally avoid. So if we get money, we have to work. Well, normally we're going to avoid excess work. So we're going to try to get out of the cost. We want rewards without cost, really. But for the most part, if we look at a relationship, we're going to list all of the things that relationship gives me. Stability. It gives me self-esteem. It gives me entertainment. It gives me affection. These are all the rewards. And then the cost, well, what is it? Well, the cost is sometimes, even though, you know, it's entertaining to watch TV, sometimes I have to watch his TV show, and that's a cost. Sometimes I have to cook dinner when I don't want to, and that's a cost. Sometimes I have to clean up things that aren't mine, and that's a cost. But I also don't have to mow the lawn because he takes care of it or she takes care of it. So whenever you subtract the cost from the rewards, you'll determine, is my profit high enough? And what we're going to do in our relationships is we're going to try to make our relationship as profitable as possible. So we want the highest reward for the littlest cost. Next is equity theory, and equity theory goes one step further than social exchange. This is where students sometimes get confused. So the equity theory, basically, it builds on social exchange, but what it says is, if I feel my relationship has a profit of 6, that means I have 10 rewards, 4 costs. 10 minus 4 is 6. So my relationship is 6. But what if you felt like your relationship had 6 costs, yeah, but only 2 rewards? 6 minus 2, or 2 minus 6 really, is a negative 4. And that's not a relationship that is profitable. If that's the case and you are under-benefiting, but your partner is over-benefiting, so you've got a negative 4 in terms of the profitability, but they've got a 10 in terms of profitability, you will not like that inequity. You're going to say, wait a second, that's unfair. We have to have the same. If I have a -4, they have a -4. We're both under benefiting, and that's okay. But if one of us is under benefiting from the relationship and the other is over benefiting, there's going to be some disenchantment and probably some conflict, or at least some negative feelings that may not be dealt with appropriately. So the next theory is the politeness theory, and this is like this. We develop relationships and have an easy time maintaining relationships when we respect each other, when we contribute to and we acknowledge the positive and negative face of the other. When we don't acknowledge the positive and negative face of our partner, our relationship will deteriorate. The problem with this theory is the politeness relaxes as our intimacy increases. And really it shouldn't, right? What we all want is our politeness to increase as the intimacy increases. And herein lies the major flaw with most marriages these days, is we cannot maintain our politeness. In fact, our politeness decreases as we get to know that person more. We forget to say please and thank you. We forget to go out of our way for them. And that's really something that needs to be changed as a society. So remember, positive face is that people think positively of you. They think you're a good person. And then the negative face is you have the right to do as you wish. And I don't want to threaten your right to do as you wish, because that's your negative face. If I don't acknowledge the positive and negative face, again, my relationship will be in trouble. So those are all of the theories that you can use for your assignment. Again, that's the advice column assignment, and I hope that this has been helpful to you and you're able to apply it not only to this week's assignments, but also to your lives. We'll see you next week for Chapter 10. Take care.